Welcome to Hunny Walia shows. I'm your host, Sonal Phul. We bring different guests or different entrepreneur, different experts in our show to talk about the current issues and share their expertise. Today we have Tyler Juice with us. He is running for a Ward 2, which also known as Any Look. Um, and he is going to talk about why he is running and why he wants to be your counselor in Edmonton. So talk about his background, and then we will ask him more question about it. He has been in. He has a commerce degree from University of Alberta. He has a vast experience in public and private services as a project manager, 15 years. He is a father, husband. He has volunteered in community in Big Brother, Big Sister. He has been coached in a football, basketball. Welcome, Tyler.
Thank you very much, Neil.
Tyler, now you have a vast experience as a project manager in public and private sector. You have been a volunteer too. You have 4 lovely kids. Why did you decide to come in city politics?
Yeah, I've been making an effort to try to make my community a better place for a long time. That started with my parents showing me what volunteerism and being active in your community looked like. Since I became a father, as you mentioned, Sunil, thank you. I've been an active volunteer, but I've sort of taken an interest in transforming that community-minded passion that you mentioned beyond volunteering. And maybe over the past 10 years or so, that goal has led me to become more aware and involved in my community as an advocate and critic of municipal issues and our municipal government. Over that time, I've worked really hard to become involved in the decision-making process and try to make our city a better place to live. But at times I felt like my voice and my activism has been ignored or passed on by the politicians that are supposed to be representing us. And that's led me to become frustrated. I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect, not a bit of a disconnect. I feel at times there's a big disconnect in the communication process between politicians and their constituents. So I decided to run for this position because I want to put my passion and energy for making my community a better place into action. And I hope to inspire people of this ward to join the conversation on what better representation might look like. I want to see what we can accomplish if we get this ward working together, pulling in the same direction.
So Tyler, before now you are running an election, you are frustrated because the situation, what is happening with the city council at the present, and you're challenging the current one, and you're looking for a change. So I have a few questions, if you could please briefly answer on those. Whenever we are going to do a change or we want to do action or we want to do a reform or change, money needed. It's a budget issue. A budget is needed and the money is needed for anything and everything. You cannot just do what you want. But being a pandemic, tax cuts and everything, government, federal government, provincial government has cut the budget. City has cut the budget too. What you think about this, how you will be managing the budget if you are elected?
Sure. I'd like to provide a little bit of background first, Sunil, before I directly answer the question, because this is a complex problem to solve. If it was easy, our levels of government would have solved it already. So I'd like to provide some background. The city budget is split between 2 different budgets. There's the operational budget that pays for the daily services that we receive as constituents. Those are things like, policing, the cost of salaries, maintenance, operating our facilities, fire services, clearing our roadways. So the city is mandated by law that they cannot run a deficit on that budget. they must collect as much property tax as it costs to run the city every year in order to pay for our daily operations. That's called our operational budget. The major reason why taxes have continually increased over time is the city is growing, and it's growing further and further outside of the downtown core. And to provide the services that we already receive to an ever expanding populace, it costs more and more money. So the operational budget is balanced every year. But the city does borrow money. That's represented in a budget called the capital budget. So when the city invests in LRT expansion or making the Yellowhead Trail, into a freeway, those types of investments can cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And the city does borrow money to invest in those projects because they're investments. And it would be unrealistic to expect taxpayers to pay for those types of investments upfront before the projects were built. It's a pretty common accounting practice to sort of average the cost of those investments over the lifespan of whatever you're building. So in short, the city budget is balanced. It's balanced, it's mandated by law. But that's why we as taxpayers continually face tax increases, because there's always upward pressure as our city grows to maintain the levels of service that we already receive and expect. So now I'll get to my point. That's the background. Although property taxes have been increasing, they've been outpacing the rate of inflation and the rate that our city has been growing in population since 1990. And I've been knocking on a lot of doors, and residents don't feel like they're receiving value for their tax increases, represented in the services that they receive. I've heard loud and clear on the campaign trail that residents of Edmonton don't want to sacrifice frontline services. They don't want to, sacrifice the quality of their roads, the quality of their parks being neglected, and paying more and more taxes every year. So my campaign is trying to invite Edmontonians to help the city define a list of core services that they expect to get from their taxes. I'd like that to be a collaborative discussion between the representatives and the people that they represent. And once we have a list of core services defined, I would like to commit to maintaining those core services as a bare minimum. In the past 3 years, the city frontline workers have been reduced by 1%, while middle management has grown by 10%. I don't feel like that trend is demonstrating better service delivery to me or to the families of my ward. And I think that the city needs to look at the layers of duplication and triplication between federal and provincial and city delivered services, so that we can look at unique ways of finding value and cutbacks in middle management and duplication of services that doesn't take away from our parks being mowed and doesn't take away from our roads being serviced into passable conditions.
No, Tyler, I agree with you. As a city person, as a resident of city of Edmonton, and if I'm not wrong, which my studies, my knowledge says, we are the highest paid property tax city in Canada. And then services are going down day by day. The grass has not been cut, snow has not been removed. And managing this, what you mentioned, the frontline people and the supervisor and the management has been addressed in the audits also. The auditor has mentioned also and brought those issues. So thank you. I'm really appreciating your knowledge also, how you have defined two parts of the budget, which city is responsible and when province and federal is responsible. I really appreciate. Now we will talk about, you did mention about the policing. You also mentioned the fire department. And there's a lot of police reforms are going on. Letters are, police department is writing the letters to the mayor. Mayor is responding, miscommunication, all these happening. So what your thoughts on police reform movement and how you will be handling this miscommunication?
Yeah, so that's been a really hot button topic recently. I honestly think that any reform of police services need to engage Edmonton Police Services. I believe that they are an organization that's committed to delivering good service to Edmontonians, and that they've been stretched quite thin across having to provide things like social services and areas that don't involve policing directly. But I am concerned with any movement that City Council will impose upon Edmonton Police Services without engaging Edmonton Police Services. I don't believe reform can be imposed upon an organization like that. I believe that organization needs to be a stakeholder in that conversation, and that they need to be motivated to provide ideas and opportunities for us to improve policing and social services to the citizens of Edmonton in collaboration.
So Tyler, it's a lot of issues city is facing, and it has been hot topics like, bike lanes, gondola, housing. So
Yes,
I
yeah.
will ask one by one
Sure.
your thoughts, because that I think it will be part of your campaign too. And before people can choose, if I may say, select you as a city councillor, they would like to know where you stand on those topics too.
Absolutely. Fire away, Sunil.
Gondola. It has been in and out. Everyone has spoken. It's still getting discussed. People from the environmentals, they have said it's going to affect the environment. It will spoil the beauty of the downtown, especially the river valley. It's economical effect, financial effect, environmental effect, but in also creating a tourism also is another part which is they are bringing as a positive side. What your thoughts are on it?
So I'd like to put a caveat in there first. So I believe that the city should be supporting entrepreneurs and businesses that are inspired and motivated to invest their own money into making our city a better place. That's what I'd like to say first. But about this project specifically, I have a lot of concerns. I have concerns about the conservation of our river valley, as you said. That's my first and foremost concerns. But I have a lot of concerns about the transparency of the decisions regarding this project that have been made at City Hall. I've read the City Hall meeting minutes, and unless I'm mistaken, it appears to me that City Council requested from City Administration the business case for the City Gondola and was denied that information from City Administration. I will always stand for full transparency and accountability, and I don't believe that council should ever feel comfortable making a vote for a project to proceed without all of that information being made available to them. It is a worrisome precedent to set. So, I commit, if you elect me as your representative, and I'm denied full disclosure on whatever topic I'm voting on, whether it's the gondola or any other topic, that I'll refuse to endorse any project or motion if city administration denies us, the full disclosure of the business case that's being presented.
No, I agree with accountability need to be there, because whatever we are doing as a elected member, and we have a responsibility, we have accountability, and communication need to be clear and concise. When you are changing communication on a daily basis, it does not, your accountability goes down. And honestly, like I'm dealing in another issue where the person who is giving information, every day the information is changing. We are talking about the financials and everything, and it changed on a daily basis. I did not.
Yep.
So respect goes down, accountability goes down. So, where you don't know what you're dealing to. Same thing, it happened to the housing issue. we are talking about the housing issues from last 10, 15 years, but it has not improved, or it has gone better, but now we see more and more people which we have not seen 2 years before on the streets, like,
Yep.
asking for a help. I don't. It could be due to pandemic, due to loss of employment. Like, you go on a 95th Street, you go on a Calgary Trail, you will find which was never there 2 years before.
Yes.
So, what's your thoughts on how you will be dealing this issue?
Sure. I feel like our 10-year plan to homelessness in Edmonton spent a lot of money and didn't chip away at ending homelessness whatsoever. So this is a very pressing issue for our city. I think that our city needs a plan to deal with this issue that's not reliant on provincial funding, as that's been shown to be an unreliable funding source. There are three basic tools that municipalities have in their tool belts to effectively provide affordable housing to our most vulnerable populations. The first one is providing land that the city already owns to develop affordable housing to organizations that are already in those spaces. The second is providing those types of organizations property tax relief so that they can effectively and affordably house vulnerable people. And the third is just elimination of red tape, accelerating zoning approvals to those organizations. The first thing, making excess land available to organizations that want to develop affordable housing, that costs us nothing. It costs the taxpayer nothing. That land is sitting available. And I think that the city really needs to look at accelerating their land use availability to organizations like that. There are lots of organizations that supply affordable rental housing in our city, but they're currently paying market value on their property taxes. I know one of those housing organizations, Civita, they're paying around $1 million in property taxes a year to the city of Edmonton. And if the city of Edmonton abated those property taxes, they would be able to provide a large uptake in affordable housing to the clients that they're already in touch with. These organizations are experts in that space. I think that the city of Edmonton building a giant bureaucracy to end homelessness costs the taxpayer a lot of money, and it shuffles people between temporary solutions that aren't fixing homelessness whatsoever. I think that the city needs to get out of the way of organizations that are experts in this field, and that it would cost Edmontonians very little in order to facilitate those organizations to better provide affordable housing options to the people that they're already in touch with.
So, Tyler, is another hot topic. So the city politics, I think, has been divided in two, because that issue has created a lot of debates, especially in downtown areas like industrial area. Even it has affected or impacted the snow cleaning. Also, it has affected the budget. Also, bike lanes.
Yes.
It's
So good one. Yeah, bike lanes. I believe that bicyclists, sorry, should be provided with a safe way to get to the hubs in our city. And there are many examples of bike lanes downtown that do this without impacting traffic flow or street front parking. My concern is that I do not see a need, and this is very unpopular in my ward, bike lanes, for an ever-increasing network of bike lanes that take away street front parking from existing homes that have been there for 60 years. And then these residents, many of them are senior citizens and have owned their homes for a long time, have to park a block or more away from their houses, and then compete with the side streets for parking. I do not believe that the city should be taking street front parking away from citizens that have paid their property taxes for their entire lifetime, and then devaluing the value of those properties because they've lost their street front parking in order to provide an ever-expanding network of bike lanes. I think that is a non-solution.
Other one is, like this has been a hot topic too from last few years, racism and anti-racism. And Edmonton, not only Edmonton, the Canada, we have so many cultures, we have so many languages, so many like new immigrants, old immigrants, new citizens. And then it's an issue.
Yes.
Is an existing issue because could be a language barrier, could be a lack of awareness, targeting any particular person or differences. How you will address that?
Sure. Racism is a real problem in our society, and I think City Council needs to lead the way in addressing those issues directly. It's a difficult problem to solve. So anybody that has a quick snap your fingers solution to it is not paying it the mind that it needs. And that's because it's born in learned behaviors and fear and emotional reactions. But I believe that our leaders need to be committed to demonstrate a better and more inclusive way towards involving marginalized segments of the population to be a part of the decision-making process. I've developed personally on my campaign a diversity and social policy working group that's going to guide me to the goal of making representation accessible to everybody. And I think that extends beyond race because some of these problems extend beyond racism. They extend to classes, and they extend to gender diversity and a lot of things like that. So I want to absolutely have a platform developed with the goal of representing every voice in my community and supporting those voices in a meaningful way.
No, Tyler, I agree with that when we talk about the racism and discrimination, how they are correlated. When racism could be based on race, religion, culture, and discrimination also based on your sexual orientation, your class, your economical class, your which group you belong to. So I think they are correlated, and we have to address them very quickly and effective way, and basically mentor the people to come forward and talk about why it is existing and how to handle it.
Yes.
It's not a patchwork, but is a proper solution.
Yeah, I don't think spinning up more government committees is the solution to racism whatsoever. I think leading by example and reaching out and bridging those gaps directly, personally, between leaders and communities is the best and most effective way of trying to address those solutions. I think we need people to lead by example.
No, I agree with you. I'm a safety consultant, and we always say it's very easy to make the policies and procedure, but when you cannot lead by example, it's going to drop.
Yeah, 100%.
Tyler, what message would you like to give to our viewers? Like when I say message, what you would like to say why they should be voting for you, and also if you could include if they are how can they be part of your campaign if they want to?
If I could leave your viewers, and thank you for having me on the show, with one message, it would be that I'm working hard every single day to make my campaign your campaign. I want to hear from everybody that's in my ward. I want to hear from people that are outside of my ward. I want to hear from people that are passionate about making their community a better place, because that's the reason I'm running. That's my bottom line. I believe that if people want change, that change starts with them. They have to take the first step. I can come on these shows and say what I believe in, but I think it starts with people believing that they deserve better representation. So if your viewers want to find out more about me, tylerzutz.com is a great place to start. There's a contact us form on that website, and I look forward to hearing from your viewers. I look forward to making their voices a part of my campaign and making this a grassroots campaign that actually cares and listens to the people that it seeks to represent.
Thank you, Tyler. And I encourage everyone, that as a democratic country is our right, is our right to vote and select a person who is going to listen to us, who is going to represent us, and who's going to solve our problems, or at least will able to listen and say, okay, I'm listening, or we are working on, and able to give you right information, clear and concise information.
Yep.
And he's ready to be accountable. So thank you, Tyler. I really appreciate taking your time from your busy schedule, your campaign, and coming forward and letting us know about your platform.
Well, I know you're also busy, so thank you. Thank you right back.
Thank you. So you are watching Hunny Walia shows. I'm your host, Sonal Phul. I really encourage each and everyone to find out the election is coming in few months. Please pay attention, do your homework, and choose a right candidate for your ward and for the city council, because that is going to help us move forward. Once again, thanks a lot. I'm your host, Sonal Phul. Keep watching Hunny Walia shows. Till we meet again, have a wonderful, safe day. And please wear a mask all the time for your safety and everyone's safety. Follow Alberta Health Services guideline. Thanks a lot.